And the last time I actually saw Patrick Peterson in a game that mattered, did Daniel Jones stiff arm him? So I just, why you running your mouth, P? What you running your mouth for? You know what amazes me about the Patrick Peterson situation? Is you would think any player on that defense from 2022 would know to keep Daniel Jones' name out their mouth. I mean, Daniel Jones took a shit and wiped his ass clean with that defense. I mean, my goodness, everything was open. And the last time I actually saw Patrick Peterson in a game that mattered, did Daniel Jones stiff arm him? So I just, why you running your mouth, P? What you running your mouth for? And I like Patrick Peterson because he plays good for me in mud. Every year when Madden come out, Patrick Surtain, Richard Sherman, Patrick Peterson, there's a couple players that just play good for me in Madden every year. So I like Patrick Peterson, I do. But at the end of the day, what are you talking about? You see, here's the thing, right? Go subscribe to my Fist Vicious channel. I almost forgot to plug my Fist Vicious channel. And, you know, look, it is what it is. Just hit the link in the description. In the comment section, it's going to be pinned. Subscribe to the Fist Vicious channel. Back to the Giants content. You got good Daniel Jones and you got bad Daniel Jones. And good Daniel Jones played like a top 5 quarterback versus that Minnesota defense in the playoffs. Good Daniel Jones stiff-armed Patrick Peterson. Good Daniel Jones demolished that Minnesota team in Minnesota and won his first playoff game. Okay? And then you got bad Daniel Jones who can't score a first half touchdown in 6 starts. My issue is, at what point do you leave Daniel Jones alone? So when I see the Patrick Peterson quotes, right, I'm like, okay, another dude is taking shots at Daniel Jones. And in the past, I would get angry. In the past, this might have been a firing range video. In the past, I would raise my voice and I'd get on my high horse and I'd talk about the anointed one and all this other stuff. But I'm at a point now with Daniel Jones is we know what he is. We saw what Daniel Jones is. Like, what he did in 2022, that's him. That's the best he can be. The only thing we're looking for with Daniel Jones is to see if Malik Neighbors can elevate that. Because we saw how good Daniel Jones is, right? He had nothing. There was no weapons. It was a practice squad offense minus Saquon Barkley was like the only player that wasn't like a practice squad player. Darius Slayton, Isaiah Hodgins, Richie James. He had a bunch of practice squad receivers out there. The offensive line was mid at best. The only noteworthy player he had in 2022 would have been Saquon Barkley. And he took that, had 7 game-winning drives, won a road playoff game, and got annihilated by the Eagles as he should have because the Eagles are that much better than us. That's who Daniel Jones is. So my thing with players like Patrick Peterson is you've seen him do it. At what point is Daniel Jones going to get a little bit of respect? Derek Carr has not won a road playoff game. Like, who else? Kyler Murray has not won a road playoff game. Trevor Lawrence has not won a road playoff game. What the hell are we talking about? So I get it. If you don't like Daniel Jones, fine. But you can't take a quarterback who won a road playoff game and led the league in game-winning drives, you can't say he stinks. You could say he had a bad year last year because he was pathetic last year. Daniel Jones was bottom of the shoe garbage last season. I give you that. But at some point, you can't keep talking about Daniel Jones like he sucks. You can't keep talking about Daniel Jones like we don't know what he is. Like there's this narrative on Daniel Jones that he's a bust. There's this narrative on Daniel Jones that we got to get help to see who he is. We know what Daniel Jones is. He showed you 2 years ago what he was. But at the flip side, like Joe Shane said in Hard Knocks, past performance is indicative of future performance. So you could predict the future by looking at the past. So what I'm trying to say is, we saw what Daniel Jones is at his best in 2022. But we also saw what Daniel Jones is at his worst, which would have been last year, which is an injury-prone player who had trouble elevating players in a time of crisis. That's what we saw last season. Somewhere in the middle is the real Daniel Jones. And I feel like when you add Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt, you improve the offensive line, I feel like you can get a consistent Daniel Jones with those upgrades. If that makes sense to y'all. Does that make sense to y'all? You get a girl, all right, you get a girl. You saw how pretty she can be when she looks at her best. Like when she's going out and she wants to look sexy, and her nails is done, her hair is done, like, and she has a nice outfit, you saw what she can be. Now, it's your job as her boyfriend to supply her with those things on the regular basis to get the best out of her. It's your job to do that. So at the end of the day, it's Joe Shane's job to keep Daniel Jones looking pretty. Period. That's his job. It's Joe Shane's job to keep Daniel Jones looking pretty. Because Daniel Jones is an average girl Daniel Jones is a 7. Daniel Jones is like a 7. You could date a 7 and you could turn her into a 9. Okay? If you spend money on the girl, you could turn her into a 9. The only way she's going to become a 10 is if she takes the money you're spending on her and turns into a sexy woman and she knows she's sexy. Nothing's better than a woman who's seductive, who knows she's sexy and just knows how to take advantage of you and really, really just ooze the walk, the talk, the stare. There's certain things that women who are sexy and they know they're sexy, there's certain things that they do. Okay? Those are the little things that could take you from a 9 to a 10. When I look at Daniel Jones, it's the little things like scoring first half touchdowns. It's the little things like staying healthy. It's the little things like having swagger like Tommy DeVito. It's the little things that could take Daniel Jones from a good quarterback to an elite quarterback on a consistent basis if he takes the weapons that Joe Shane puts in front of him. The Wan'Dales, the Neighbors, the freaking Hyatts. If he takes those weapons, balls out, get some confidence, get some, it's up to Daniel Jones to go from good to great. It's Joe Shane's job to give him the weapons. It's Daniel Jones' job to deploy those weapons. Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt, Neighbors, they got to get the ball, Danny. Waller didn't get the ball. Galladay didn't get the ball. Tony didn't get the ball. Hyatt, the first 6 weeks of the season, didn't get the ball. So I said all that to say this. Patrick Peterson, your opinion doesn't matter. The narrative that he spat about Daniel Jones not being able to process defenses, he's slow and all this other stuff. He didn't look slow when he played you in that playoff game. He didn't look slow when he stiff-armed you. Daniel Jones has to go from good to elite. Elite quarterbacks are consistent. Good quarterbacks are good occasionally. That's why they're just good. I got faith in Danny. I got faith in Danny, man. At some point, the hard work got to pay off. At some point, the hard work got to pay off. This kid is the hardest working dude I know. At some point, it's got to pay off. But anyway, that's it. That's all. Hit the like button, hit the sub button, drop the FUs in the comments if you rockin' with me, and stay vicious. Dismiss.